The boy who never shouted, Andrea Pirlo, was born on the 19th of May 1979 in a small Italian town called Flero, near Brescia. Not in Rome, not in Milan, not in the places newspapers point to when they talk about where legends are born. Flero was quiet, and Pirlo was its perfect reflection. His childhood had no noise. He wasn't the kid yelling in the street, scraping his knees, demanding the ball at all costs. Andrea rarely rushed, rarely raised his voice. He watched. While other kids competed to be faster, stronger, louder, he stopped and thought soccer didn't enter his life as a loud dream of glory. It came quietly, like a room where the mind could work, a place to solve the game like a puzzle. While others played with muscle, Andrea played with logic. He could stand on the field almost motionless. From the outside, it looked like he had disappeared from the game. But in those moments, he was already living the future. Who would make the run? Who would find space between the lines? Who would crack under pressure? And where the ball would be, 3, sometimes 4 passes ahead. In youth teams, he was often misunderstood. Coaches wanted speed, toughness, physical aggression. Pirlo brought something else, a pause. An uncomfortable one, an unexplained one. The kind of pause that forces an opponent to make the first mistake. Even then, Pirlo wasn't a player of moments. He was a player of structure, an architect of a game still under construction. In Mizard, the genius no one knew how to use. The beginning of Pirlo's professional career was a paradox. Everyone saw the talent, and at the same time, no one knew what to do with it. He didn't fit the template. He wasn't a classic number 10. He wasn't a destroyer. He wasn't a sprinter. At Inter, they searched for him but never truly found him. He sat on the bench, changed positions, lost rhythm, and with it, trust. To many, Pirlo seemed too slow, too soft, too intellectual for a version of Italian soccer that valued combat more than thought. Then came Milan, and one decision that changes careers forever. One idea, one step backward. To see the entire field, Pirlo was dropped deeper into midfield, where there was less chaos, more time, where the whole chessboard was visible, from defenders to forwards, and the game changed. He didn't win the ball. He won space. He didn't chase opponents. He made them run for nothing. His passes weren't just accurate. They were timed to the second. Perfect weight, perfect angle, perfect moment. Just after the defense stepped forward, and just before they realized they were late, Pirlo played as if time around him lost its shape, as if everyone else was rushing, and he alone understood that rushing was the mistake. And the free kicks, that was a language of its own. No power, no theatrics, barely a run-up, a quiet touch, and the ball traveled like a perfectly formed thought. Soft, clean, inevitable. Iron. 2006, the year silence won the 2006 World Cup. Germany. A summer when soccer felt heavier than the game itself. Italy arrived not as a favorite, but as a nation under pressure. The Calciopoli scandal still hung in the air. Distrust, anger, doubt from the executives to the very idea of Italian football. This team wasn't playing just for a trophy. It was playing for redemption. And in the middle of all that noise stood Andrea Pirlo. Quiet, focused, almost invisible. He wasn't the captain. He didn't shout in the locker room. He didn't pound his chest for the cameras. But he held the team together. Every Italian attack flowed through him. Every build-up from the back. Every moment when the game threatened to slide into chaos. When others saw opponents, Pirlo saw space. When others rushed, he slowed it down. When the match demanded nerves, he brought order. His passes didn't break the game. They built it, step by step, pass by pass, like laying stone after stone, into the foundation of victory. Italy didn't dominate with flair. They suffocated, controlled, survived, and Pirlo was their heartbeat. The semi-final, tension stretched to its limit. The final, against France. Two soccer worlds colliding. Everyone expected mistakes, drama, cracks. But when the ball was at Pirlo's feet, the game seemed to breathe. He didn't accelerate. He didn't panic. He held a tempo where Italy was stronger. 120 minutes. Penalty kicks. The moment where even legends break. Millions watching. A silent stadium. Pressure you could feel in your chest. Pirlo steps up, no extra movement. No emotion, no theatre. As if this weren't a World Cup final, just another training session. The strike, the ball travels clean, calm, unstoppable. The net moves. No celebration, no scream, just a glance, and he turns away. In that moment, it was clear Italy wasn't losing. They weren't winning with strength, or speed, or aggression. They were winning with control. World champions, best midfielder of the tournament, a player who proved that soccer isn't always about running. Sometimes it's about silence. A pause, one perfect pass at the right moment. After 2006, Pirlo could no longer be ignored. No longer underestimated, no longer misunderstood. He became the standard, the reference point, an architect who showed the world. Intelligence can defeat chaos, calm can overpower pressure, and silence can be the loudest weapon in the game. Why? Calm as a legacy. Even at the end of his career, when his body no longer moved like it did at 20, when the first step slowed and recovery took longer, Andrea Pirlo was still dangerous. Not because he ran, but because he knew. Speed is an advantage in soccer, but intelligence is power, and Pirlo owned it to the very end. When he joined Juventus, many saw nostalgia. A veteran, one last contract, a graceful ending. Instead, something else happened. Pirlo didn't adapt to the team. The team adapted to him, not through shouting, not through demands, through logic. He proved something the game often forgets. Class doesn't age. It reveals itself. He no longer had speed. He no longer needed it. He knew where the ball would be. Before the opponent realized they'd lost it, he knew when to speed the game up and when to kill it with a pause. He didn't change his style, didn't chase trends, didn't pretend to be younger. He didn't play a role. He was himself, and that made him unique. In a world obsessed with intensity, constant pressing, non-stop motion, Pirlo existed outside that logic. He was the antidote. When Juventus was pressed, he calmed them. When the game broke, he stitched it back together with a pass. When panic crept in, he reminded everyone, control starts in the mind. Minimal touches, maximum impact. Soccer without noise, without gestures, without excess. The soccer of someone who understands that real power is confidence. Off the field, Pirlo was the same. Calm, ironic, detached. He never chased celebrity, never hunted attention, never performed for the spotlight. He wrote books not to explain himself, but to organize thought. He studied wine slowly, carefully, with respect for detail. He looked at life the same way he looked at soccer, without rush, without panic, without the need to prove. Pirlo never felt like a man fighting the world. He felt like a man who understood it. And that is his true legacy. Not just trophies, not just titles, not just finals and medals. An idea that there is room for silence in soccer. That a pause can be stronger than a sprint. That thought can be faster than any legs. He showed a generation that you don't have to be the loudest to be great. You don't have to shout, provoke, overpower. Sometimes you just have to know. One perfect pass at the right moment can change a game more than 100 meaningless runs. One calm touch can release pressure that's eating a team alive. One pause can force an opponent to make the mistake. And that's why Andrea Pirlo will remain in history, not just as a soccer player, not as a star, not as a symbol of an era, but as the mind of the game. A reminder that soccer isn't only speed and strength, but silence, where the most precise decisions are born.